Hey everybody, Jalen and Cacie here, and we're inviting you to our Facebook Bible study group. We're super excited about this. If you go to Facebook right now, you will see the group on our Facebook page. Yep. The link is in our description. What is this group for? Once a month, we go live and we have a Bible study with you. You can interact with us. You can ask us questions as we go through the Word, as we go through marriage and relationship books. And we'll talk about anything that has to do with marriage, relationships, all kinds of spiritual things, single living, any and everything. This is for anyone who is married, yep. Anyone who is divorced, anyone who is single and happily single, anyone who is single and looking but still happily single. Whatever it is you're going on, whatever it is you're going through, if you're a parent, if you're not a parent, if you're a single parent, whatever. If you're dealing with any kind of relationship, this group is for you. Like I said, we go live every month, and we're going live this month, so you don't want to miss out on it. Go ahead in the description of this video, hit the link, join the Facebook study group, and we'll invite you in, and we'll be happy to have you. See you there.
You're my girl. You're the type of woman to make a man get right.
We're back, guys. It's been a little while, hasn't it? Yeah.
We say that a lot these days.
Well, you know, it's been happening. I guess it hasn't been a whirlwind, but, you know, we've just been pregnant, you know?
Yep, and that's the excuse we're going to keep on having until he's born. And then after he's born, it's going to be, we have a baby.
There is going to be a paternity/maternity leave when that happens, and probably a new schedule. But we thank you guys for bearing with us. If you haven't already signed up for the Facebook study group, because we are definitely going live once a month there. And follow us on Instagram and all of that. Subscribe, hit the notification bell if you haven't already. We thank you guys. Thank you for helping us reach 800 subscribers. You guys are awesome for that.
Yeah, welcome to the family, friends, all of our new subscribers and stuff. I mean, we really do appreciate it. The comments, the questions. We really do enjoy reading those and answering as many of those as possible. Again, if we don't respond right away, it's not because we don't like you. It's just, you know, we're busy people, and, you know, we got a lot going on right now. But keep sending in your questions, keep making your comments, and we do read them.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
So this is a good question here, and this one is anonymous. All right, this person, anonymous. This particular person says, I don't like social media, Facebook, etc., but my wife is on this way too much. But she's saying she's doing nothing wrong, just scrolling, talking to her friends. My question is, how do I reform Facebook for us as married? What should I do? Create the best boundaries. Okay, that is a very good question.
It's a good question.
You're not the only one dealing with that, so thank you for submitting that. And I like this question because it's going to answer for a lot of people. So, you know, there's a lot of follow-up that can come with that, finding out your exact situation. But we're probably going to answer this broadly, you know, and hopefully it applies to your situation and everything. Sorry, just moving this cord out the way. I don't want to mess up. So hopefully it applies to your situation, but it's going to answer a lot of people's questions. So thanks for sending it in. What are your thoughts when it comes to social media and relationships? And
well, we already know that there's, I guess, epidemic is the word I want to use, of social media breaking up relationships. You know, social media can be very addictive. And even between us, you know, we've recently taken a hardcore look at how much time we spend on social media, and we've, you know, established some rules, you know, where we just get off our phones, get off social media at a certain time of day, and spend that time together. And you really have to actively do it because it's easier said than done, especially if you're like us, you know, if you do business online, if you're on social media, you got YouTube, Facebook like we do. And it's our platform by which we reach out, then sometimes it's really hard to stay off of it. And, you know, you can create this habit where your phone is always in your hand. You know, it becomes like a part of your body and just mindless scrolling. And I mean, I'm guilty of that. So I'm not going to say that we haven't been affected by that, because we have. We've both been guilty of that. So like I said, we had to put active things in place, and we're not perfect at it. We're still working at that ourselves. However, if I felt like social media was getting between our relationship to the point where it was affecting our communication and our ability to be intimate, then it has to go out the window. And then on the other side, I'm thinking, according to the question that was asked, I try to be fair on both sides, because I know there's some people who really just have a strong dislike for social media. And so sometimes we can create a sensitivity to it, and it doesn't matter who's on it or how long someone's on it. You know, it bothers us because we just don't like it. There's some people who are just like offended by social media. It's like, I don't like Facebook. I don't like that because the drama it may bring, or just whatever your point is. Some people just are really against social media. So I want to be sure that, you know, you analyze yourself and really ask yourself the question, what is it about social media that really bothers me? And why am I so bothered by my wife viewing it? Do you feel like she's spending too much time? Was that part of the question? That she's spending too much time on it?
Yeah, he said she spends too much time. Yeah, way too much time.
Okay. And I would say this because you want to make sure that you don't attack your wife.
I was going to go there, so
You know,
let's keep going that way.
About her social media time. Because if you attack her, then she's going to be defensive and you're not going to get anywhere with that. So I would, just me, you know, if Jalen had a problem with me being on social media, I would prefer him to come to me and clearly explain and express to me his feelings about it in the most calm way. Have a real conversation with me eye to eye. And then have a plan and a solution in place. You can't ask somebody to put down their social media info and not have something to fill that space with. You may have to start small. For example, like we decided to do, you know, when he gets home from work, you know, we're going to put the phones away in a separate room and we're going to spend that time together. You may have to start with, you know, let's spend 30 minutes without our phones and let's just talk. Let's play a game. Let's watch our favorite program together. Create an activity that will fill that space for her if you're requesting her to not be on her phone. And be consistent with it to the point where she would see the value of not being on her phone or her social media so much. And that's really the thing you're trying to do, is create value as to why it's important that you don't spend so much time on social media, because it's valuable to our relationship that we communicate. It's valuable to our relationship that we have intimacy. It's valuable to our relationship that we have fun together and that we do things together that social media is robbing us of being able to do. So again, communicate clearly, don't attack, and create a plan of action. Create an activity that will fill that void for her so she can feel like you really are engaging with her.
And the key thing there is, you said, you know, we've got to create that thing, but you're going to do it together.
Yeah.
And so the clear point there is communication.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a good lesson in communication, because it seems you've shared this with her before, and it seems she has her answer. She's not doing anything wrong. So the fact that she says that means that she feels attacked when you say it. Because you don't say, I'm not doing nothing wrong, unless you feel like you're being prosecuted for doing something wrong. You know, exactly. So you got to have to sit down and talk about it. And this time from an angle of, here's the thing, when you have a conversation, it's got to be two sides talking. It can't just be, I'm right, and I got to get you to see that I'm right. Because even if she did put it down, it would be in a way that would be putting up a shell against you, and then it would damage your intimacy. I have to assume that the reason you want to lessen the amount of time spent on social media is for the sake of your intimacy, because that's what's important. And as long as she's connecting with all these people online, she's not connecting with you. You can't connect with people and social media at the same time. We've noticed that in our own time together. We're sitting there watching TV, trying to talk, but we're scrolling social media, and then we're like, okay, we need to put it down because we're not connecting. So if your objective is to connect, start with the communication. Find out what social media is doing for her, why she likes it. And your thought is, it's bad, it needs to go out the window. Let's say you're right. You beating her over the head with the fact that you're right isn't going to change anything, because it hasn't changed anything up to this point. So you're going to just have to love on her and talk to her. Find out, get her perspective. And even if you don't agree with it, or it's not the way you tick because you don't need social media, maybe she does need it. And if she does need it, all right, let's find out why she needs it, because there's something else that could give what that's giving to her, and that's in the relationship, because it is addictive. It's like a pleasure center, or you get bored and it's just mindless scrolling. I feel better now when it's outside of the room and we're together. And it's like, wow, I feel free. Like it's not binding me in chains anymore. But there are people who really, really enjoy social media. So she's getting something out of it. And you're going to have to add that to her life yourself if you're going to remove the social media from her life. So, you know, like you said, it's going to be in stages. I don't think it's going to be just cut it off moment unless
And
she
it's
has some
going to take
epiphany to
it's
do
going to
that.
take investment, whether that's with your time, your energy, your money, whatever. It's going to take investment, and depending on how addictive she is to or addicted to this social media, you're going to have to be patient. You
Very
know,
patient.
very patient, and you're going to have to employ the help of the Holy Spirit. I'm assuming that you're born again and filled with the Holy Spirit. Ask Him to help you, and ask Him to give you ideas, and ask Him to reveal your wife to you, and He will help you with this. Never count Him out, because everybody's different. Everybody's wired different. They need different things, and what's important to you may not be important to her. So you can't force somebody to see it your way.
This may take a series of
It might
conversations.
take time, and I mean, and honestly, I agree with you. Too much time on social media is bad for any relationship. So, like we've been saying so far, between us, we realized we were spending a lot of time on social media, and even though we may feel like we had a good excuse for being on there, we realized it was just too much. So we agreed on putting our phones away a certain time of day and just spending that time together. And we've been doing this not that long. And we've had ups and downs. So I remember some time ago we started doing that, and then we fell off the wagon, got back on social media more frequently, and now we're picking it back up now and saying, okay, we need to really actively put social media away a certain time of day. And especially like in modern times, most of us don't have house phones or landlines anymore. Everything is done on our phone. So it's very, very easy to be on it. Because we get distracted. I know I do. I be going on my phone to search something or call a friend, and then I see a notification and I get distracted and scroll over there, and before you know it, it's 20 minutes later and I haven't done the first task that I originally was going to do. So we even discussed that, hey, we're going to turn these phones off. We're going to get us a regular old-fashioned house line, landline phone. So if family needs to reach us, if in emergencies, they have that number, so we can turn our phones off. Because I remember back in the day where I would turn my phone off. But we don't do that anymore because phones have
Well, you feel like
become...
necessary. It's an emergency, especially if you're at work.
Yeah.
So you guys are separating. Like you said, it may take investment. So just bring it back. First thing you got to do is communicate and take your time, because chances are if you've gone at her before about this, she's going to be defensive. So this may take time. It may take months. You may not get what you want immediately. You may not ever get what you want the way that you think you want it. But you're going to start talking to her so she feels comfortable talking to you.
Right.
And then y'all start coming up with ideas together. All right, together, what's some way we can begin to set some boundaries?
Yeah.
One of our rules is we get in the house, put the phones in the other room, and whether we're watching TV, eating, whatever, it's just not in the same room. And it's just for that evening. Rest of the day, while I'm at work or while she's at home or whatever, we are on our phones and things like that. So although you may say, I'm not saying this is what you want, but let's say you want zero Facebook. You may not get zero Facebook, but maybe you'll get an hour in the evenings. We're just talking and there's nothing going on. That's a victory if it's not what you have right now. And that may be enough to get the ball rolling to where she begins to see the value and putting it away. Or maybe that 1 hour just would end up being enough. But you got to be able to be willing to let go of your position. Don't go on resentment. Don't go on unforgiveness and anger, because you'll get nowhere with that. And take your time. And y'all can set boundaries together. But before you get there, y'all got to get in agreement. And before you get in agreement, you got to communicate. And before you communicate, you got to get her barriers down. I've known that in communicating with Cacie, and this isn't just distinct with women, but I will say this, that if you constantly attack, eventually your wife will put up a wall. And she won't let you talk about that thing with her. It'll just be like she'll shut down, or she'll get angry, or she'll get defensive, or whatever, because you've wounded her in that area. Even if it seems like something small and minuscule, it's not that big a deal. It's an emotional thing, and it's a big deal to her. And it's a big deal to you because you keep bringing it up, obviously.
Well, even from my perspective, there are things that you're sensitive about, and I've attacked you on them, and you would shut me out. So you got to learn how to be diplomatic with your spouse and treat them like you would treat somebody that you don't know. We tend to treat people or strangers a little more gingerly than we do people that we're familiar with. You got to treat them with the love of God and ask yourself, how would I want to be treated in this situation? Would I want somebody to come and attack me and make me feel like I'm stupid, small, or inconsiderate or rude or whatever the case may be? No, you want love.
Yeah.
Because love is the only thing that's going to change someone. You can't force them. You got to do it in love and be patient and let God move on your path.
And your first plan of action may be to go to her and say, look, I want to say I'm sorry to you because I've been attacking you over this thing and making a lot of assumptions, because a lot of times we make assumptions when our spouse won't budge on something, saying, oh, well, you love this more than you love me, or you doing something wrong while you're on social media, or you just nosy, or you're in the drama. And we make up stuff, and that ain't necessarily the case. We haven't even heard their perspective. So you may need to go to her and apologize for coming at her about it and making assumptions about her and say, I love you and I trust you. And if you say that, you're not doing anything wrong, and if you say that, you don't feel like it's drawing you in from me, then I believe you. Once again, that has nothing to do with whether or not you're ultimately right about this issue. This has to do with your connection with her.
Right.
Because that will begin to bring healing. Because depending on if that area of her life is scabbed over with you, you can't do anything with this issue until that begins to heal. You got to start healing that issue. And that may take time. And then she'll let down her barrier. And then y'all can talk about it. And then y'all can make plans. So I think a lot of times we want a quick answer to our disagreements in marriage. But we've been handling them wrong for so many months or years that it may take years to fix. It may take months to fix. And sometimes it doesn't take that long, depending on the issue. But you got to be willing to take your time and work it out, because y'all got to get into agreement. And that's going to take communication.
And the only thing I condone to watch on social media is Jalen Cacie stories. Don't cut us out, okay? Because we're good to watch.
Oh, yeah.
But I really do hope to answer your question.
Yeah.
It seems like a very simple question, and it's pretty broad how we answered it. But I realize it really is an issue and problem for our society, for this generation.
It is.
And, I see it so much. I feel like in today's society, most people don't even hold their heads up anymore. Mm-hmm. I mean, you literally see people walking down the street with their heads down, looking at their phone. Mm-hmm. So it really is a problem, it's really an issue. We're very attached to the hip to our social media, to our phones and our devices. So thank you for that question, and I hope it was answered. We would love to hear a follow-up on that and see how things worked out. None of us are perfect. We're working on it as well. But it takes effort to get it done.
And when you're thinking about your spouse who has, it's not always an addiction, but just a predilection towards something that you see, like, why do you want it so much?
Yeah.
Think about things that you like, whether it's TV, whether it's something else on the phone, not social media, it's a game, It is always, we all get things that we spend probably a little too much time with that we don't need to be. And if anybody could have any complaint with us about not spending enough time with them as opposed to these things, it would be God. Yeah. So look at him from his perspective. But he's merciful with us. He's gracious with us. He gives us every chance to get it right, to relate to him. He's never cold towards us when we do pray and do talk to him. So keep all that in mind when you're dealing with your spouse. Show them that same grace, that same mercy, that same forgiveness, and that same compassion and understanding, and say, hey, this particular thing that you're doing, I don't like, but I've got my own thing. So let me not judge you and act like this is some foreign thing just because I don't understand this particular thing.
Absolutely.
So, and that works for a whole lot of stuff, not just social media. So you can just plug and place that for this whole discussion for just about anything else that your spouse is spending too much time doing. But we hope that answered your question and several other questions. So thank you for submitting it. Thank you to everyone who watched. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a video whenever we do release another one. But we love you guys. Make sure you
release another one.
Join the Facebook group online. The link is below so that you can see us whenever we go live and interact with us as we have our Bible studies. We thank you guys. We love you so very much. Keep submitting your questions.
Says hello. He's
kicking. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
He says hi. So we love you guys. We'll see you next time. I'm Jalen.
And I'm Cacie.
We're saving marriages.
One story at a time.
You're my girl. You're the type of woman to make a man get right. You're my world. You keep my mind spinning all through